Good evening, Akron. My name is Tim Ryan, and I'd like to thank you all so much for being here with me today. I'd also like to thank you all for allowing me to serve as your representative for Ohio's 13th Congressional District since 2003. It has been my honor to fight for you all for these last 16 years. A lot has changed since then, but one thing I know for certain has not is my love for this country. I grew up in a small town right outside of Youngstown, Ohio called Niles. And what I love about our Ohio cities like Akron or Youngstown or Niles is that it's more than just a place to live. It's a community. Growing up with a single mother for the majority of my life, the sense of community was very important to my upbringing. From playing football at John F. Kennedy High to coaching junior high basketball, the experiences that I've had in this wonderful state have helped shape me into the man that I am today. However, now it's time for me to give back to you all and show the rest of the country what a small town boy from Ohio can do. Times are changing very quickly here in America, and I must change with it. That is why I am happy to announce that I will be running for the United States of America in the upcoming 2020 election. Today, we are facing a growing crisis within our country. The United States of America are becoming more divided every single day. We're facing a political climate where politicians are afraid to reach across the aisle. We're dealing with American citizens losing their jobs, American students dealing with debt and violence, and we are all feeling the effects of climate change. With so many issues currently plaguing the United States, we need someone who is not afraid to turn things around. We need someone who's willing to work with both sides of our country to achieve unity. If we as American citizens continue to perpetuate the divide between us, we will never be able to heal what is ailing our country. If we're able to put petty differences aside and actually work together again towards a greater America, we can begin to fix the issues that are haunting us. Only through unity will we be able to provide a better future for our kids. As a country, this is what we're really fighting for. We fight hard to be able to provide better schools, better jobs, and a better life for our children. And together, we can achieve this. One of the main issues that we are facing today is the treatment of our citizens when they are in need of medical attention. Young men and young women in our country are unable to afford healthcare options after being forced off their parents' healthcare plans. In the state of Ohio alone, more than 35,000 young men and women would lose their coverage for this reason if it was not for the Affordable Care Act. Furthermore, 1.8 million senior citizens in Ohio would be forced to pay astronomical copays to get critical procedures done. As a proponent for healthcare and the Affordable Care Act, I understand these issues, and I fight for solutions. Without the Affordable Care Act, Americans across the country would suffer. That is why I co-sponsored and fought for the Medicare for All bill. It is why I was one of the founding members of the Medicare for All caucus. Healthcare for our citizens should not be a privatized monolith controlled by corporations. It should not be controlled by our employers or those that are looking to make a quick buck off of the back of the American people. Our citizens are entitled to the right to affordable health care, treatments for their friends and families, and access to options that will help with mental health. Some people will tell you that Medicare for all is too expensive to be accomplished. They say that it would cost too much money to make sure that our kids will have access to healthcare when they grow older. But what they won't tell you is that the United States of America already spends more money on healthcare per person than any other country in the world. In 2017, we spent $9,237 per person on healthcare. That is more than $1,400 more than the next closest country, Sweden. Despite this, we still have millions of our fellow citizens who are not properly insured. In 2013, 44 million US citizens were not insured. Although we were able to get that number down with the Affordable Care Act, there were still over 27 million of our friends and neighbors who were uninsured in 2017. While we have begun to make hopeful strides in the right direction, we still have a long way to go to ensure every one of us has access to the proper health care that we're entitled to. No one should be worried about whether or not they can get their life-saving treatments, and no one should worry about going bankrupt in the process. While healthcare is a great place for us to begin to heal the problems of this great nation, it does not stop there. Another one of the main issues we are facing today is the growing threat of climate change. We're beginning to see the effects of climate change more and more every day, and if we do not begin to address it, the consequences could be catastrophic. Our current administration does not take this threat seriously. Starting with pulling out of the Paris Climate Accord, they have proven that they will not address this issue. This year they solidified this stance, cutting 23% of the Environmental Protection Agency's budget. This equates to $2.5 billion of funding that will no longer go towards healing our planet. Moving forward, we cannot continue this way. The science is clear, and the science is proven. Greenhouse gas and CO2 emissions are continuing to rise, and with it, we will see continued instability in our weather, rising sea levels, and rising temperatures. If we're going to stop this looming threat, we have to uphold the Environmental Protection Agency, the Clean Air Act, and other initiatives with similar goals. Cutting funding to these programs will only make this problem worse. If we wish to provide a better future and a healthy planet to our children, we have to take a stance against climate change. I've consistently voted against spending cuts against these agencies, and I will continue to fight to make sure that we still have a planet left to fight for. It has been an honor to serve our country and push for change within our House of Representatives. I've been privileged to be able to push for programs that make lives easier for our laborers, for our children, and for our country. However, our country is facing a political divide that could rival any in history. We're seeing more and more that politicians are unable to bridge the gap that is growing between us. This country needs a leader who will bridge those gaps, fill in the divides, and bring us all together in unison. We are currently dealing with citizens unable to receive the proper health care that they need, the growing issues of student debt, and the complex issues that climate change are introducing every day. With all these problems, it is important that our people know that they have a leader who will fight to make sure that they're taken care of. Growing up in a small town with a single mom, I know what it's like to feel like you're not being looked out for. That is why I am running to be the President of the United States. because our country is coming to a crossing roads with this election. We can allow this administration to continue to railroad our citizens and our planet, or we can choose to fight for a better future. Together, we can make sure that the future includes our citizens having access to health care and our planet being healthy. Once again, I'd like to thank you all for coming out tonight. And remember that our future is now. Thank you.